How are we doing, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of FSI. Here for the NASCAR Cup Series at Phoenix. It is TK Nation here, joined by Mega Roller 31. Mega, how you doing this morning?
Oh, love
You
the
ready to
time
talk?
change.
Yeah, yes. The time change, spring forward, everybody's favorite. Um, I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning and definitely felt like five. uh, but yeah, we're talking NASCAR today for the Instacart 500. We want to quick recap the Xfinity Series race. What we saw was pretty, I kind of surprised by how many wrecks we saw. I was, not expecting something like that. And what did you see from the Xfinity race?
Well, I think there were 11 or 12 cautions, and one thing that like really shocked me, and I didn't get a chance to look and see what's going on for Cup, but they only gave him 3 sets of tires. Which, if they gave him
Oh,
one more, I think this race would have been so much more competitive because they took one at the first competition, two at the second competition caution, or not competition, but like the end of the stages, and then you had a very long run where they had an early caution and everybody had to choose, are we getting tires or not? They all choose tires, so the whole end of the race was on old tires. So basically nobody had any strategy to come out with like fresh tires. Some of them kept some of the scuffs, which are tires that they'd use but not use like too bad in their pits in case they had somebody going down, or they wanted to try to get some fresher tires on. But basically by that point, whoever was out in front, like nobody could get past them, so there was like no
mhm.
passing towards the end of this race really up front once you're out in that clean air. So if it's going to be like that today, and this is 500 versus like 200 laps, so you have like so much more, but still, are they only going to give them like 4 or 5 sets? And that's still going to make a huge difference because you're going to have a long run at the end if you have an early caution in stage three where they're not going to be able to have any tires left, and it's going to be the same thing. Now these guys are more skilled drivers and may be used to it. The other thing I saw too is they have that traction compound up high, and those people that know how to run high really seem to have an advantage. So you think in this race, maybe like Tyler Reddick would, who's used to like hugging the wall, but it seems like some people got too high up on it and drifted into the wall and
Yep.
wrecked. So you might see some of these young drivers like, hey, you know what? I know this principle of like running up high and, getting in the stuff, but getting in like some of the dirt and the stuff and sliding into the wall, and then their day's over. So that's what I kind of learned.
Fantastic breakdown of the Xfinity race. I couldn't agree more. And you put some slick traction compound on a long third run with some scuffs, you're going to get some contact with the wall. And I think we're probably going to see something similar, even if they do give them an extra set or two. 312 laps. Yeah, we're going to have some bad tires and maybe some wrecks. So maybe place differential does play a factor in some of our builds today. But let's get into some picks. We could start off with the pole sitter, Brad Keselowski at 10-4. This guy's had a lot of great speed over the years at Phoenix. He did, I think he led a lot of laps last year. And let's just elaborate on Brad Keselowski, how he fits into our lineups and our strategy today.
I absolutely love him. He profiles very well. He seems to have a good start to the season. He was second last week. Good track history here. Think he does well in this package also.
Yeah.
The one thing that I think that people might overlook is, again, like I said, it was very hard to pass. And the only time that people got ahead of Cindric was through the pits. And he being on the pole is going to have the number one pit position. Well, no, that's
Yeah.
not a huge advantage here like it is on some of the other short tracks. But still, it's the first one. There's nobody in front of you, so it's easier. You don't have to maneuver around somebody to get out. So I think that could definitely help him stay out front.
Yeah, if he nails that car setup today with the pole pit, he's going to be a pretty hard car to fade today with a lot of them top run, average run of inside the top five, probably most of the day today. He keeps that car clean. He's going to have a good day. Kyle Larson, another car. I think he's going to be in and out of a lot of, you know, non-Brad Keselowski lineups. If I'm going to have Brad Keselowski in a lineup, I probably won't have Larson. But if I don't have Keselowski, I might have Larson, and then I'll just try to have, maybe like a difference of neither in either one of them in my lineup with maybe someone we'll talk about here in a little bit. But Kyle Larson starting second, he dominated the show, and he had a very fast car. Average run here at fourth. Is Kyle Larson going to be in and out of your lineups like me?
I actually like another Hendrick car better.
Hmm.
Starting a little bit further down and Chase Elliott. I think,
Okay.
he's the one that I'm looking to pair with Brad. I don't mind Larson. I think that everybody kind of underestimated him, that, he would be rusty and not be able to come back, but he's pretty much picked up. So I don't hate him. I don't say he's a fade. I think he's definitely a cash play. That's number 2 position is where Cindric started, and he ended up like dominating and winning the race. So I definitely can see it. And he's surrounded by some other cars that are very questionable up top there. So
Speaking of which, let's talk about them. The Joe Gibbs cars. We got Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Truex, Kyle Busch, all running inside the top 6, I believe.
yep.
Top 7 positions. Gibbs didn't do too well yesterday, except for
No,
Ty.
besides Ty, who is just seems to be completely amazing. And if you had like 5 more
Yes.
laps there, he might have actually won that race. But that kid is definitely talented. But the rest of the Gibbs car is like struggled, and like their setup wasn't the greatest. They fell backwards. Burton spun out. Like I think Jones had a little bit of help. So
Yeah.
but as I look at these cars, they just like Truex really hasn't been great here. Bell, I think, might be a dark horse. I think he's a great GPP pick. Hamlin he's going to have high ownership, but he's kind of struggled here too. And Kyle Busch, like I said, if you watch the Xfinity one, I compared him and Noah Grayson's kind of the same guy. And Grayson was very aggressive and got up there, and like his car caught on fire, and
Yeah.
he was out. So like Kyle Busch never surprises me if he wins the race, because he's got the talent, he's got the car, he's got the pedigree, he's got the experience, but he seems to do things or have bad luck during the race. I can never fully trust him in cash. So he's one that, like, if he beats me, he beats me. I'm fine with it, but I'm not going to make him a priority.
I agree. And if you run multiple lineups, it doesn't hurt to have a sprinkle of Kyle Busch in there. And this isn't really Truex's kind of style track. He is a really good talent, but the short tracks aren't really his thing. And I might be looking to fade him here. I do like your Christopher Bell dark horse of the group. He does pretty well on those flat tracks. And, Denny Hamlin's Denny Hamlin. You have shares if you're running multiple lineups, but his average run of like 12th doesn't really see me as like an optimal build for Denny Hamlin. So I'm on team, fade for Joe Gibbs with maybe a couple of sprinkles and some of these guys that we talked about for them.
The reason
But
I think they can be more popular is because I think people are like, oh, all these teammates are up front. But if you looked at the cars on restarts in the Xfinity race, they really weren't able to kind of like link up and push and like really make a difference. It seemed like the guy in the upper outside just kind of took off and left the field in the dust. And, second place might have challenged him, but then, every single lap was falling further and further and further behind.
Is that clean air going to be something that's going to be dangerous all day today?
Yeah, I believe so. And these restarts are fun because you see like the whole field like
they like fan
blow
out
up. Yeah. you see them like dive. There's no yellow line here like Daytona that you can't go below, and it's usually like 5, 6, 7 wides in that restart. Like people you'll see a car like way down at the bottom of the apron and think, okay, he's gonna come up and take the lead, but then like the guys on top just sail right by them. So
right. Yeah, with the compound up top, I'm sure those restarts, the top groove is probably the preferred line. Another team that I do like today, probably going to be all in, is Logano, Blaney, as we already mentioned, Keselowski, the Team Penske, and Wood brother sub Penske team, probably going to be a big fans of them today. Joey Logano, average run of first at this track over the past couple of races. You big on Logano and Blaney as I?
Yeah, I definitely like them. I've always been a fan of Penske. And one thing about like me and NASCAR is I don't have a favorite driver. And I think that kind of helps in playing DFS. Like Jimmy Johnson was my favorite driver, but by the end of his career, I wasn't like, playing him in DFS unless, I knew I needed the value or something. So, it's kind of good going through these series is like not having like a personal favorite or bias, but I do often find myself playing the Penske cars because I just see the return on value from them and pairing
Yeah,
them with
absolutely.
Di Benedetto, 20th, there's a little bit of place differential there. He
Yeah.
averages, I think, top 10 or high in the teens. So, definitely they're ones that I could play all four and throw some value in, and fade some of the Hendrick cards that we might give with them. Or, just maybe like do a rotation of where I get my like core place eventual value guys and then just rotate the dominators up top.
Agreed, man. Really good stuff. Blaney Logano in our lineups today. But we do have a couple of guys here in this like teens starting position that we see as fades. You want to talk about Eric Jones, Priest, McDowell? Why are we ignoring that value in the teens, and what do we expect from their race today?
Well, Eric Jones, the petty cars just really haven't been good at this
Nah,
race with this setup or this year.
they got bad
It's a
equipment.
small team. Like I do believe they have like a Hendrix affiliates, but I just don't see them having the same speed or equipment as them this year. And Ryan Priest, I mean, he did well last year, sometimes, but last week he was
Yeah,
like,
last week.
we're completely dismissed him and he stayed up there and kind of held his position. And I don't know if he
Yeah,
was in the ultimate lineup, but he definitely had value and was able to hold his place. And we saw some guys do that in Xfinity also
yeah,
that, we never thought would stay up in the top 10, but were able to do that. And especially, with all the wrecks and stuff kind of helped them hold their position. But I just
yeah,
see him kind of falling back. And Michael McDowell, he had that Daytona win. And again, like we love playing this guy, but at
yeah.
certain tracks and like these short flat tracks are not his forte. So I
Nope.
definitely see him like fading back too.
Great call. I was thinking about playing McDowell today with that price tag and starting position being farther back, but you helped me with that track history. Probably a big thing for him, and maybe he keeps falling backwards and backwards in these race results, and we can start getting some place differential on
Right.
him in better tracks. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think.
And pretty soon, like we're going to have, without practice and everything, the cream's going to rise to the top. And the
Yeah,
faster cars and the cars that are doing well on a more consistent basis are going to be towards the front. And, we looked at the back of the pack. I don't want to like bury the lead or like spoil,
yeah,
what's to come, but looking at the bottom of this, we like, oh, well, who down here can we use as value? And we looked at them and they all had like an average run position below 30. And we're like, okay, so these guys are where they should be finally.
yeah. Right, right, and they're totally worthless, pretty much. Unless like yesterday they get some wrecks and they can get some place differential that way. But we kind of did bury the lead. We buried the Kevin Harvick lead, the five-time champ here at Phoenix. Captain speed or no speed for Kevin Harvick today?
I look at Kevin Harvick as kind of like Gary Sanchez if you're a baseball fan. He has
Oh
a
yeah,
home run or a golden sombrero. I think, Gary Sanchez has
yeah.
more golden sombreros than the California Mariachi Band. But,
Woo, I love that.
like, and that's four strikeouts if you don't know what a golden sombrero is.
I
But
do.
that's kind of what it is. It's like with a setup, like he was so good last year, and if they got it, they nailed it. It was a home run.
Yep.
But if not, then he struggled, and they just don't seem to have it this year. I think age might be coming into like a factor as we see drivers at a certain age, and he's a couple years
Yep.
past that start to decline. And which I hope that's not the case. I really enjoy and think he's talented and he's done a lot for the sport. And I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
saying like he's over the hill and needs to hang it up, but I think he's definitely playable in cash for some place differential. He can get up there and possibly dominate, but at 11.9, I'm not going to spend that much money in my cash lineup to see if it happens. Again,
Exactly.
if it happens, it happens, and
If that beats you, okay.
right.
You know,
I'm okay with
I
that.
yeah, yep. And for cheaper price tags, I like the guys that we talked about in the front. For Kevin Harvick, it would totally be just a GPP, and that's it for me. But there's another Stewart Haas car in the back here, Almirola, starting 32nd, with much nicer price tag. I think he's going to be in quite a bit of builds for a lot of teams, a lot of lineups today. What do you think about Almirola?
I definitely think he could probably be top 3 in ownership. He definitely, you need a little place differential with your dominators. We saw there was a couple cars that were in a similar situation, like the 98 in Xfinity yesterday. And he actually got up into the top 10 and ran up there consistently from the 30s. And the people that had him, definitely were cashing. So Almirola, he's a safe driver. I think that he definitely can get up there. He's kind of neutral on this track. He's not like great at it. He's not like bad at it. So, but even if he picks up 10, 15 place differential points, he doesn't really need any lap leading or things like that to kind of pay off. And his price at 9K is reasonable.
Yeah, absolutely. We can get into some value here to help fill out the rest of our lineups. I think we both have one guy circled. Daniel Suarez starting 27th. Probably going to be a big part of the lineups today. Maybe even my highest owned driver based on, what I see here at the bottom for value. Is he going to be in a majority of your lineups as well?
Yeah, I definitely like him. And I also like the fact that if you did watch the Xfinity race, he was there and he seemed to have very good insight on the track. Although once I did go away and come back to the broadcast and it was all in Spanish, I thought I accidentally hit the SAP button. But then I realized they were just having him do a segment in his native language, which was kind of cool. But, I kind of like how they're switching it up and bringing like different drivers onto those broadcasts, because you really see kind of like their insight to the track and stuff before they race the next day to kind of see, like if they understand what's going on or if they don't. And he seemed to really understand it. Equipment, I wouldn't say it's suspect. I would say it's average. It's not like, elite. It's not deplorable. But I think definitely at this price, sub 6K, starting 27th, if he finishes where he starts, or if he even gets up into like the high 20s, definitely going to help you unlock what you need to get the points up top.
Absolutely. Yeah. Suarez is going to be one of my highest owned drivers, as said. But we have like a mixture of guys here, and they vary in different price ranges, but they're all starting in this low 20s area. And I think this is going to be the difference between winning lineups and losing lineups today. We have people like DiBenedetto, Chastain, Reddick, Custer, and even as high as Bowman and salary. What do you think of this group here? I think this is like the moneymaker, the big money maker bracket here of the section of the race. Who's your favorite guy in this little group here, and why is he your favorite driver?
Well, we already talked about DiBenedetto. I think that he's decent at 20th. Out of this group, I would probably say Custer at 24th has like the most potential to move up, and I really like his price at like 6,700. So Chastain, I don't mind. He's aggressive, but sometimes maybe a little too aggressive. I think Custer definitely has better equipment. Tyler Reddick, again, I think that he can get up there, and he's a dark horse. He's one like for like GPP. I think he's going to have high ownership because people know he's good at high groove, and they know that, from watching Xfinity, that this is a high groove track with getting up in that compound up there for traction. But he tried that the last race, and he's one of the ones that drifted up into the wall. So maybe he's figured it out, but again, I'm not paying to find out. I'll let others.
I think Custer is a little safer in this range as far as like finishing the race and having a decent place differential at the end of the day. But I do think, like you said, Chastain and Reddick have a higher, upside, a more dynamic scoring if they nail it, if they use that high groove to their advantage, because Chastain's also a guy that loves to use that high groove. And he's a pretty, aggressive driver. Both guys are pretty similar in styles. I think either one of them, if they do hit their ceilings, they're going to be inside the top 10. They're going to have good, a decent chunk of fast laps. They're going to be in an optimal lineup build if they're not inside in the wall and on fire like Gregson. I think that's kind of like their upside. But I do think from a cash perspective, Custer gives you a solid, finishing position, and he's not gonna you're not gonna rip your hair out if you're rostering Cole Custer, and you could take your 14, 10, 14 points of place differential and move on from there.
Bowman wouldn't surprise me if he ends up in the top 10, but I'd pay the 300 more for like Almirola to get like much more place differential, because he really hasn't been great here, even though like his team has. So
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And we have this deep punt area here. Even, I don't know, anything you see anything down here in the 30s, starting position in the 30s. It's tough to even think about it.
Well, if you go up to 29, Justin Haley, he at least ran Xfinity here. This car is completely different, not very reliable, but the driver at least has run 200 laps on this track the day before. So he's good. One thing, make sure you guys watch out for is JJ Yaley is in the DraftKings pool, but I think Garrett Smithley is taking his ride, who's not in the DraftKings pool. So don't play JJ because you'll get 0 points. You're guaranteed not to lose any points playing him, but you won't gain any points either.
Sure. If he was like 2K and you wanted to take the 0 to get all the top studs,
he might be on FanDuel, so that might be a strategy. Like I've done that before in like soccer, where I've taken a goalie that that I know is absolutely not going to play, so I don't lose any points because I know everybody else is going to get shelled.
Exactly. I think that's not a strategy this week. Punts for me completely out. Maybe Haley. You convinced me a little bit on Haley. But that's probably gonna do it from a full field breakdown here of our tiers of talking points. Mega, you absolutely crushed it. Spot on analysis. I think we're gonna have a good week today, a good day today in our lineups, and absolutely nailed it. If you guys haven't had a chance, go over on our website, or you can get into the Discord channel. You can find those links on our Twitter handle at FSI DFS.
Don't we have a special promotion going on?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot. Army's going to kill me. We got a promotion going on. If you have lasted this long in the show, you get the promotion code for the coupon code for FSI. It's YouTube March. You get 15% off any one purchase for your content guys here at FSI. That is not good for daily or the NASCAR season long, but if you want to sign up for a week, sign up for a month. Mega's got his MLB projections. He's got NASCAR projections for today's race. Yeah. We do core lineups. You can get 15% off with that coupon code YouTube March. Mega, thank you for reminding me.
No problem.
Army's going to listen in, and we're going to get done with the picks. He's going to be like, damn it, Tim. Looking forward to it. But yes, thank you, Mega. That should do it. And thank you guys for listening, and looking forward to today's race.
Yep. Good luck.